And here we are again, talking about another school shooting. Dr. Laura Saunders is here from the Hartford Hospital Institute of Living. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
This is a tough one. This massacre, I think, has just gripped our nation again. Our kids are asking questions. What do we say?
So, as always, Carrie Lee, I talk about a developmental approach, right? For young children, we really need to try to shield them as much as possible. For older kids, where they get information, even if we don't want them to get information, we have to provide factual information. A lot of this is uncertainty. Why would someone do this? Some of those questions we don't have answers to. But at the same time, we need to provide assurances, but not promises. Assurances that our schools are doing their best to stay safe, that the police and fire and first responders do their best to take care of us, but that we need to each take personal responsibility for saying something if we see someone that is what I call vulnerable.
Yeah.
Having some needs, in distress, let someone know. Let the school authorities know, let your parents know, let someone know about these kids that are in distress. Very often they give off signs.
Well, and this 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz did show signs, and students referred to that. And again, you're so right. If you have to say something, don't assume somebody else is going to. You know, we're raw, right? We're all just raw. This is just so horrific. It's every parent's greatest nightmare. We probably have to get our emotions in check before we even begin to have that conversation with our kids, right?
So that's a good point. Very often what happens is, as parents and adults, we carry a measure of anxiety. We realize the nature of a tragedy like this, and we take that anxiety and what we call project it onto kids.
Right.
That's not what we want to do, because that means that now we're increasing their anxiety.
Yes.
So it is about keeping our feelings and anxiety in check. That doesn't mean we can't have some frank discussions, but to not take that anxiety and add it to the anxiety of our kids.
And we should probably let them lead. I know in the past, sadly, you and I have sat here and had this exact conversation. I can't even count how many times.
Right.
And that's horrific in its own sense. But I know you've said, you know, again, the developmental approach is let them lead, right? So I have a 13-year-old, I have a 6-year-old. I would hopefully not have this discussion at all with the 6-year-old. She's oblivious, but my 13-year-old does know about it. Right. And I can have a pretty frank discussion with him, but I always let him ask me. I don't present, okay, here's Mom the news anchor now laying it all out for you. And I only know that from you, and that's probably advice we can all share and take.
So that is the guideline. Answer their questions, right? If they have a question, then answer their question. Provide a piece of information. But let their questions be the leading factor about how much information they're ready to handle. So just answer their questions and don't add on a lot of additional emotional stuff, because that's what's coming out. It's a lot of very raw feelings, and that's a word I've heard several people use. There's a lot of rawness about the level of this tragedy.
Yeah.
And also to remember, in this state, any school shooting and any school tragedy has a very personal connection for us.
Dr. Saunders, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Hopefully we've helped so many other people. It is a sad day indeed.